What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cab Show. NFL Week 8 was some big games. Starting off with the Thursday night game, the Rams get the upset over the Minnesota Vikings. I knew Minnesota would eventually fizzle out. I mean, you got Sam Darnold. He's an okay quarterback, but we're talking about making the Super Bowl this year, and Minnesota ain't that team. Yeah, they started off at 5-0. Whoop-de-doo. Minnesota's going to fizzle out. Even if they do end up making the playoffs, they're going to get bounced. I get it. Justin Jefferson, the best receiver in the NFL, but they need a consistent quarterback, and they just don't have it. And their secondary is kind of questionable as well. We saw Cooper Kupp and Puka just eat all over Minnesota. So, we already knew what Minnesota was about. Even when they started 5-0, I was like, yeah, they're not going to run deep in the playoffs. When they play a real team like the Detroit Lions, they're going to get ran through. That's just what they do. They love getting ran through. They love getting hit from the back. But shout out to the Rams running right through the Minnesota Vikings. And then I had my Indianapolis Colts lose yet again to the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans literally own the Indianapolis Colts. It's disappointing, really, in a way. It just sucks, man. Anthony Richardson, there was a play a lot of people are talking about where Anthony Richardson tapped his helmet and was like, hey, I'm tired, bro. Like, let me take one break. And a lot of people did not like that whatsoever, especially the Colts Nation. Everybody that's a diehard Indianapolis Colts fan did not like that. But, I don't know what to think about it. I mean, yes, he's our franchise quarterback. I've never really seen a quarterback who's a franchise QB, ask for a playoff. I just never seen that really in live game. We never seen Lamar Jackson do it. We never seen, any type of quarterback. Josh Allen, we never seen do it. We never seen Tom Brady do it back in the day. We just have never seen it. So to me, it's kind of new. I don't know really what to think of it. Maybe Anthony Richardson was tired and needed to play off, but it's just a bad look to, the diehard Colts fans. Like, we want our quarterback to be there at all times. You know what I'm saying? Like, offensive linemen can't be like, hey, bro, like, I want to play off. I just never seen that before. It's just something new to me. I really don't know. I just think overall dealing with Anthony Richardson, like, it's either he's going to be a big-time player or a bust. And right now it's looking like he's kind of being a bust. Like, it's straight up. Like, Flacco looked like more in tune with the Colts than Anthony Richardson is. That's just what I'm seeing from eyes. Just eyesight, eye test. Looking at both quarterbacks, but Anthony Richardson right now, it's one of them things where it's like, I don't know. I don't know about him. I really don't. Maybe the Colts did mess up by drafting him 4th overall. We're talking about a guy that started 13 games in college. So, like, what are we talking about here? Like, it's just crazy, man. Like, I hope the best for Anthony Richardson. I hope he's not a bust. But how he's playing right now, it makes me think, I don't know. Maybe he is a bust. I mean, he had 1 touchdown and 1 pick, just 195 yards passing. I mean, he was 10 for 32. Like, dude, it's kind of hard to watch sometimes. Anthony Richardson always, I feel like, goes for the deep ball. Always goes for the home run play every time. And it's like, bro, like, we could throw it to the check down to JT. We could do other different stuff. We don't have to go for the home run literally every single play. Yes, he's got a great ball. We saw that with Josh Downs. But, we're talking about the Houston Texans here. Number 1 in their division. They're 6-2. Colts are 4-4. C.J. Stroud, I mean, he does what C.J. Stroud does. 285 yards passing and a touchdown. Joe Mixon scored a touchdown. Stephon Diggs did get hurt. It's going to be interesting to see how the Houston Texans move forward with Stephon Diggs hurt and Nico Collins hurt. So it's like, man, like, banged up as well. But my Colts, man, it's typical, dude. Like, we've seen this over and over again. We have a good regular season, then come playoff time, we just don't end up making it. Like, I think that's how the season's going to go for the Colts. It's going to go, yes, they're going to win some games that they should win. They're on Sunday Night Football this weekend against Minnesota. That's going to be interesting. We remember last year, the Colts were up, I think, by 30-some points. Minnesota came back and won that game. Like, like, we can't make this up, dude. Like, it's crazy, man. But I hope the best for the Indianapolis Colts and Anthony Richardson. But right now, it's not looking good whatsoever. But, hats off to the Houston Texans getting a big win at home. And then we got the Atlanta Falcons beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers had a lot of opportunities to make this a game and really come back and win this game. But they failed. They failed to do it. And really, Baker Mayfield banged up with some injuries with Mike Evans and Josh Godwin, those guys. It sucks for Baker, even though he had 3 touchdowns and 2 picks. It just wasn't overall the best game for Baker. But Kirk Cousins, 4 touchdowns locked in. Atlanta right now is 5-3, dude. Like, I never thought Atlanta would be this good right now at this time of the year. but I think they're good not just because of Kirk Cousins in the offensive line, because of Drake London. We got to give respect when respect due, and Drake London this year is just eating, dude. He's a monster this year, and in a lot of fantasy drafts, he slipped late. He really did, and a lot of people doubted Drake London, but Drake London this year, he's got 5 touchdowns, over 500 yards receiving. He's playing well. He's playing solid, and I think with Drake London and how Atlanta Falcons are playing with Kirk Cousins, we're talking about a playoff team here. Atlanta Falcons will make the playoffs this year. It's just only a matter of who they're going to get matched up against. It's just right now with Baker and Bucks, they started off hot, but with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin out for the season, Mike Evans will be back eventually, but it just sucks for Tampa Baker right now, and they're going to continue to lose without their main players, but a big win from Atlanta Falcons. And then we got the trash New York Jets versus the New England Patriots. Jets lose yet again, 22-25. It just sucks, man. Aaron Rodgers, 2 touchdowns, 233 yards passing, but it just wasn't enough. Breece Hall, 80 yards rushing, another 0 touchdowns. Breece Hall, everybody's fan favorite this year preseason, has 3 touchdowns this year. 3 touchdowns, 428 yards rushing. Like, Breece Hall, no, dude. He's just not that type of guy. I try to tell people, ever since his ACL injury, Breece Hall has not been the same type of player. And why would you draft a player that's coming off a nasty ACL injury? Yes, Nick Chubb, he's an exception. Even Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb isn't putting up the numbers that he put up the past 2 seasons before his ACL injury. He's just not. It's just proven, man. When you're a running back and you just have a terrible ACL injury, dude, you're just not the same. You can't cut the same. You can't move the same. No matter how you slice it, rehab could have went great. All this other stuff. At the end of the day, dude, like, an ACL injury is terrible for a running back. And it's going to minimize you down the future. But hats off to the Patriots. Jacoby Brissett, 132 yards passing. They got the job done. They really did. Stevenson, the running back, had 2 touchdowns. It's typical Jets, man. Jets are trash. They fired their head coach. They're continuing to get worse. We're looking at Aaron Rodgers, who's like 39 right now, and it looks like Aaron Rodgers really doesn't care. Like, Aaron Rodgers is there to collect his $50 million and bounce out and retire and set off into the sunset. Aaron Rodgers won Super Bowl. That's it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy to think about, right? Just Aaron Rodgers does not look the same player. It looks like the game is just kind of evolved. Looks like players are a lot quicker and faster than Aaron Rodgers can read. It's just a part of it. I don't know what to think of Aaron Rodgers. I just think Aaron Rodgers is eventually, he's washed up. He's washed up, dude. It's it for Aaron Rodgers. Like, I don't know what else you want me to say about Aaron Rodgers. He's washed, dude. He doesn't move right in the pocket. He doesn't scramble like he used to in Green Bay. Like, this past 3 years ago, Aaron Rodgers would be able to evade sacks. But this year, no, he cannot do it. He just can't run off the Achilles injury. Another terrible injury for any type of NFL player. Achilles? Like, it just sucks when you squeeze your Achilles. Like, you're tearing your Achilles. Like, yeah, when Aaron Rodgers did that last year, I said, yep, Aaron Rodgers, his prime is over, dude. Like, it's over with. I'm sorry, Aaron Rodgers fans, everybody who's an Aaron Rodgers fan, but, you know, his time is over in the NFL. Yes, he might play next year, but he's going to do the same thing. He's done, dude. Aaron Rodgers needs to retire. Hats off to the Patriots, man. And the Philadelphia Eagles run right through the Cincinnati Bengals, 37-17. It was crazy. Jalen Hurts had 3 touchdowns. Why? Because they do the tush push. If they didn't do that tush push, Saquon would have 3 touchdowns. He would have put up like 50-some points for me in fantasy football, and I would have won this weekend. But the tush push kind of sucks for me because I have Saquon, but Saquon, one of the best running backs in the league. Philly's clicking at the right time. Devontae Smith, a touchdown. Saquon over 100 yards rushing. And Joe Burrow, just 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Chase Brown had a touchdown. But overall, I'm looking at the Bengals and saying, wow, they're 3-5 right now. They need to go on a heater. Like, if the Bengals want to make the playoffs and make a deep run, they're going to have to start somewhere soon, and that's right now. In Philly right now, they're 5-2. They're playing Jacksonville next weekend. So we're looking at Philly. They're going to be 6-2 going in and playing next month against the Dallas Cowboys. So I just think right now, the way Philly's playing, man, and we look at the Cowboys and we realize, hey, it's who they thought they were. You know, the Cowboys are all prima donnas. They don't care. Jerry Jones, he's too old right now. He needs to sell his franchise because the Cowboys, dude, they're terrible. Dak Prescott, I try to tell people, is overrated. He is. 2 playoff wins in his whole career in Dallas. You know, another Tony Romo 2.0. Dak Prescott is trash. The Dallas Cowboys are trash. Like, that's just how you sum it up, dude. They're just garbage, man. They're complete garbage, man. Man, I don't even want to talk about the Cowboys. They're so trash. And then we had the Green Bay Packers beating the Jacksonville Jaguars 30-27. This was a really, really close game. I mean, super close. Green Bay did not cover the spread. It was 3.5. So if you took 3.5 Jacksonville, you would have hit. They only won by 3. Jordan Love got banged up yet again. He had an interception this game. No touchdown passes. Trevor Lawrence had 2 touchdown passes. Wow, and Josh Jacobs finally decides to show up with 2 touchdowns. Like, that's the Josh Jacobs that I know from Alabama. That's the Josh Jacobs that I know. So I just think Josh Jacobs, man, he's the type of running back to really catch on in the second half of the season. You know, the first half he likes to coast, and then the second half he goes all out. So I think right now Josh Jacobs is a running back that you probably do want to bet him to score touchdowns now in the second half of the season. He's a running back that's going to catch on, and he's going to catch on quick. Shout out to Josh Allen and Green Bay, man. In Green Bay right now, pretty crazy. They're 6-2. Who would have thought they'd be 6-2? Take off Tucker Kraft, another touchdown score. I mean, it was National Tight End Day. So many tight end scores. Mark Andrews, Sam Laporta, Tucker Kraft, Travis Kelce got in, George Kittle. The list goes on and on, man. It was all tight ends this weekend, man. Shout out to the tight ends. And then we had the Tennessee Titans versus the Detroit Lions. Lions smoked the Titans. It was competitive the first quarter. That's about it. 14-52. It was just, man, I'm telling you right now, Detroit Lions are legit. They are a team to be reckoned with. And they were without one of their good players in Jameson Williams. He's on a 2-game suspension. So, like, for me, it was just like, holy cow. Detroit is continuing to make waves, continuing to put up big numbers. Jared Goff, 3 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs had a touchdown. David Montgomery had a touchdown. Sam Laporta had a touchdown. St. Brown had a touchdown. Brock Wright had a touchdown. Raymond had a touchdown. So, like, everybody basically scored on Detroit, man. Detroit's legit. They're the real deal. I think it's going to be Detroit and Baltimore Ravens in the Super Bowl this year. That's my low-key pick. Just a little sneak peek for the future picks for the NFL. But right now, Detroit, they're 6-2, and I'm telling you what, man. I think, or actually, they're 6-1. They've only lost 1 game, and that was at Tampa Bay at home by 4 points. So I think right now Detroit is a team that's going to be reckoned with. They're going to run deep this year with Dan Campbell and company. They're only getting better. Even without Aiden Hutchinson, I still think they are legit. They're elite. Take off Detroit Lions. Let's go! And then we got the Arizona Cardinals beating up on the Miami Dolphins. It was only a 1-point victory. I'm saying that because really Miami had this game in the bag. They really did. Tua had a touchdown. A-Chain had 97 yards rushing. Moser had 2 tutties. And Tyreek Hill had 72 yards receiving. So his receiving yards hit on the over. But obviously, you know, Tyreek did not score a touchdown. But shout out to the Arizona Cardinals, man. Kyler Murray, 2 touchdowns. We had Marvin Harrison Jr. 111 yards receiving and a tutty. So Marvin Harrison Jr. is legit. I do think Marvin Harrison Jr. could easily win Rookie of the Year this year, even though he started off pretty slow. But really, I put that on Kyler Murray. Like, Kyler Murray, you should have been throwing Marvin Harrison Jr. week 1. Like, you should be throwing to him, like, 10 targets every single game. That's what you have to do. Marvin Harrison Jr. is an elite receiver, dude. Top 5 draft pick this year. Like, throw him the ball, Kyler Murray. If you guys want to continue to win, you're going to continue to find Marvin Harrison Jr. And then we had the biggest upset all weekend, the Baltimore Ravens losing to the Cleveland Browns. Yes, the Cleveland Browns beat the Baltimore Ravens. Jameis Winston had 3 tutties, 334 yards passing, just torched freaking Baltimore Ravens. It was just a torch fest. You had Tillman with 2 touchdowns for Cleveland Browns, but the Ravens, man, it's just kind of like unfortunate, man. You know, Lamar Jackson had 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry had a tutty. You know, Mark Andrews had a touchdown, but it's just the defense for the Ravens did not show up this game. You know, they made Jameis Winston crab fingers, made him look like he was God out there. 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards passing, bro. Like, come on, dude. Like, he should not be doing this. If you're the Baltimore Ravens, this is a big no-no. And Baltimore's 5-3 right now, and they're one of my dark horse teams to run deep. Obviously, them or Kansas City's going to come out in their division, so I can't wait to see how that develops, but a huge upset. Who would have thought Baltimore would lose in Cleveland? Nobody thought that, but shout out to the Cleveland Browns, a huge upset over the Baltimore Ravens. And then we had the New Orleans Saints getting beat up on the L.A. Chargers, not San Diego, L.A. Chargers, and really it was just, you know, and they're banged up with a lot of injuries. Derek Carr's been out. Justin Herbert had 2 touchdowns. Dobbins had a tutty. Lad McConkey, a rookie out of Georgia, had 2 touchdowns, 111 yards receiving. It was crazy, man. And I should have started him in my fantasy. I picked him off the waivers. He went crazy, dude. I'm so dumb for not starting him. I mean, it was all Chargers here. And really, the Saints are banged up. The Saints probably going to miss the playoffs this year because of Derek Carr's injury. It's just how it goes. That's how football goes. But take off Chargers. And then we got the Buffalo Bills blowing out the Seattle Seahawks 31-10 in Seattle. And Josh Allen, 6-2 right now. Josh Allen is legit. 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. James Cook had 2 tutties. And it was all Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills this year, they're another team that is going to have to give it over that playoff hump. They're going to have to beat Patrick Mahomes. They're going to have to beat Lamar Jackson. So Josh Allen understands, hey, I know what's at stake. Josh Allen knows that he's going to win out. He's going to have a great record going into the playoffs. However, Josh Allen's got to realize, I got to get over the hump, bro. I got to beat Mahomes. I got to beat Lamar. I got to beat these guys. I got to beat Joe Burrow to make it to the Super Bowl. Not just win the Super Bowl, to make it there. So, like, Josh Allen has a huge, second half of the season into the playoffs this year. So I can't wait to see how that develops. But the Bills are looking nice, man. They're looking nice. Their defense is looking nice. Take off Josh Allen. Let's go. And then we have the Chicago Bears versus the Washington Commanders. This was a crazy game. The last minute, we saw the Hail Mary. Jaden Daniels just threw up, and the Chicago Bears defense didn't know what to do. Just straight down that, a defender talking to the fans on the last play of the game. Just, Chicago Bear typical shit. That's what they do. Chicago Bears find a ways to blow games. This happened years ago, I think 3 years ago in a playoff game against Philadelphia. Chicago Bears are down by 1, and they have like a 43-yard field goal. And what do the Chicago Bears do? They dink it off the left hash. So that's just how they do it, man. Chicago, they always find a way to blow the bag. It is what it is, man. They just got lucky. Washington Commanders should have lost this game, but they got lucky. Jaden Daniels had 1 touchdown. It was just crazy, man. It was insane. The ending of this game, just a Hail Mary, just throw it up. And then the Chicago defenders are over here trying to tap it up like a dumbasses, dude. Like, bat it down. You don't want to tap it upwards, and it goes upwards into Washington Commanders' receiver for the game winner. It's just crazy, man. It sucks, man. But I'm actually excited for Washington Commanders this year. We're talking about Jaden Daniels, who's leading a team right now that's 6-2. Like, we're talking about Washington Commanders, who've always been a crappy team. All of a sudden, they flip the switch with Jaden Daniels. Like, it's crazy, man. And they play the Giants next weekend. They should run through them. So, we're talking about Washington could be 7-2, dude. Like, that is crazy. Shout out to Jaden Daniels. Shout out to the Washington Commanders. Let's go! And then we had the Carolina Panthers losing to the Denver Broncos 28-14. This was kind of a boring game. Bryce Young had 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Bo Nix, 3 touchdowns, 284 yards passing. Went crazy, dude. And he had a rushing touchdown. So shout out to Bo Nix, man. I mean, it was just Bo Nix, a rookie quarterback, okay? We got to understand that. He's a rookie. He came in. He's balling right now. Shout out to the Denver Broncos, man. I didn't think Denver would be this good right now. They're 5-3, 2 games above 500. Shout out to head coach Sean Payton. He's a future Hall of Fame coach. So it makes sense why they're good right now because of Sean Payton, how great of a coach he is. Shout out to the Denver Broncos. And then we had Kansas City Chiefs beating the Las Vegas Raiders 27-20. This was a relatively close game. And really, Patrick Mahomes, I think he's thrown for an interception in 7 or 8 straight games, which is pretty crazy for Patrick Mahomes, right? But they're still winning. Travis Kelce finally got a score. Xavier Worthy scored this game. And we're looking at the Raiders and say, well, they have Minshew, who's really a garbage man. Like, he sucks. He's straight trash. But overall, I'm looking at the Kansas City Chiefs and realizing, wow, they're fortunate enough to be 7-0. They should be 6-1. They should have lost to the Cincinnati Bengals, but they didn't. So I just think Patrick Mahomes right now, throwing an interception every single game in, 7 straight games, is pretty crazy to me, and yet they're 7-0. So that tells me that the Kansas City Chiefs have an elite defense that's really saving and bailing Patrick Mahomes out. That's just what they're doing right now. But shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs, man. Undefeated right now. And they're going for a 3-peat. The only team to ever do it, if they end up doing it this year, will be the Kansas City Chiefs, man. Shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs. And then we have the Dallas Cowboys losing yet again to the San Francisco 49ers. Literally, the 49ers own the Dallas Cowboys. They own them outright. The Cowboys are trash. Dak Prescott, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Like I said before, man, Dak Prescott is not the guy. He's not, dude. Jerry Jones needs to sell the organization to one of his mighty billionaires or a relative, because right now what Jerry Jones is doing is just stupidity. You're paying Dak Prescott, what, like 40, 50 M's a year? Dak Prescott's won 2 playoff games for you? Like, that's just crazy to me, dude. Dak Prescott is straight garbage, man. He's a garbage can. And shout out to the San Francisco 49ers, man. I mean, it's just what they do. It's what they do, man. Brock Purdy had a tutty, you know, and they're just, hey, man, and George Kittle had a tutty. It was all San Francisco. And this is the time where San Francisco starts to hit their stride and starts to go on a win streak. They do it every single year. So I think this year, you know, San Francisco is going to be nice. Obviously, they need McCaffrey back. They're going to need McCaffrey back. But right now, they go into their bye week. Shout out to the San Francisco 49ers. And then we had the Monday Night Football game, the Pittsburgh Steelers beating the New York Giants. And it was all Pittsburgh here. I mean, yes, Russell Wilson had 1 touchdown, a couple called back from George Pickens. It was just a kind of weird game. It wasn't that exciting at all. Daniel Jones, an interception. It's crazy, man. Shout out to Tyrone Tracy Jr. from Indiana. From Iowa, then he went to Purdue, but he's born in Indiana. Shout out to Tracy Jr. He had 145 yards rushing and a touchdown. He did end up getting hurt. I think he tweaked an ankle this game. But shout out to Tracy Jr. But overall, we're looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers and saying, wow, they're 6-2 right now with Russell Wilson as starting quarterback. I still think Russell Wilson is washed up. I still think, you know, I really do. I still think Justin Fields, this is his team. I just think for what I've seen from Russell, man, he's doing everything just to get by. Like, it's not the Russell Wilson that we're used to seeing back in Seattle whatsoever. This is a Russell Wilson that's just trying to scrape by and just get a barely good win. So I just think Russell's washed up. I think eventually they'll go back to Justin Fields. But a huge victory for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But what a weekend it was for Week 8 for the NFL. The biggest upset, like I said, was the Cleveland Browns beating the Baltimore Ravens. Nobody saw that coming whatsoever. And like I said, the Jets are trash. My Indianapolis Colts find a way to lose yet again. It just sucks, man, but that's part of the NFL. What a weekend it was. NFL Week 8. It's the Clown with Cab Show. Let's go!